Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Love Over Fear show by Healing Embodied. If you are brand new to this space, to us, to this show, to this whole crazy ROCD thing, hi. We are so glad that you found us and that you're here with us. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Sarah. I am one of the body-mind integration experts here at Healing Embodied. I work alongside of founder and CEO Chelsea Horton, and I have the honor of co-facilitating and facilitating several of our group programs. I help run the Safety Within Facebook page for our self-study members, and I get to run our Luscious Love and Freedom to Love group programs. And today, I get to do the Love Over Fear show, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Okay, so Chelsea and I, we started this show because we believe in our heart, in our soul, in our whole being that you can love deeply, truly, passionately. You can be fully, wholly in love and feel fear at the same time. But we want to help you choose love over fear every single time. Every single time. Okay. So without further ado, today's episode, it's a good one. It's the comparison trap. We've all been there. If you are here live, I see someone just popped on. If you're here with me live, comment below, say hi, let me know you're here, let me know you're watching, interact throughout. I promise you, you will have a much better time today if you are interacting versus just listening to my voice. I don't think my voice is awful, but I guarantee you after about 30 minutes, you will wish you had been interacting. So drop me a comment, say hi, let me know you're here. I am also going to give a little bit of a teaser here and let you know that at the end of today's episode, we are going to offer something incredible, something very special, something we've never offered before. So make sure you hang out with us. And if you have to jump off, if you have to go, make sure you come back and check out the end of the video because you don't want to miss it. It's going to be excellent. Hey, Saya, I'm so sorry. I want to know how to pronounce your name, but I see you out there. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Okay, the comparison trap. Y'all, we've all been there. We have all done it. You find yourself comparing yourself, your partner, your relationship, your life, your decisions, your appearance, your house, your job, your income, all of it, everything. You find yourself comparing all of it. Saya, okay, thank you, or Saya or Saya. They're both beautiful and I'm glad you're here. All right, so you're comparing. Before you know it, you are just swimming in a sea of self-doubt, self-loathing, anxiety, fear, right? We've all done it. We've all been there. You might have those thoughts of like, I'll never be as good as so-and-so. I'll never be as attractive as so-and-so. If only I were more like her, then I'd be happy. If only my partner were more like him, then we wouldn't fight or have problems. I've been there. We've all been there. It is a slippery, vicious cycle, and it just breeds more and more self-doubt. Causes us to become hypercritical of ourselves, our partner, our lives, our choices. It's painful, and I want to help you break this cycle because it sucks. Honestly, it's not a fun place to be, right? All right, so let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about why we get stuck in the comparison trap. Like, why the heck do we do this thing? Why do we get stuck there? 3 reasons, 3 biggies. Okay, one reason is because the anxious brain or the traumatized brain, and those things can be the same. They don't have to be, though. Not everybody who experiences anxiety has experienced trauma. Not everyone who experiences trauma experiences anxiety. However, both of these experiences can alter how you view the world and causes your brain to get a little bit crossed. The wires in your brain get a little bit crossed. So the anxious brain, the traumatized brain, it seeks certainty all the time. I talked about this in a past episode. Chelsea has touched on this a ton. The brain is constantly seeking certainty, and it views the world in a really concrete way. And when I say that, what I mean is that everything becomes all or nothing, this or that, black or white, good or bad, right or wrong. Everything kind of fits into this box. The box feels safe to the anxious or the traumatized brain. The wires get a little bit crossed. We start to view these boxes as safe. So our brain is trying really hard to fit everything into a box, right? So if we start comparing ourselves to others or other relationships, or we compare our partner to other people or other relationships, it helps us, we're kind of seeing like, do I fit into this box? Does he fit into this box? Does she fit into this box? Does my relationship fit into this box? It's an attempt at seeking safety, right? All of this is just an attempt at seeking safety. Hey, Chelsea. That is one reason that we get stuck in the comparison trap, because our brains are seeking out that box, that all or nothing, this or that, is it good, bad, right, or wrong, right? Another reason we compare is because we lack self-trust, and we don't trust in our own decisions and in our choices. So when it comes to anxiety, when it comes to trauma, when it comes to chronic stress, we kind of learn along the way that we can't trust ourselves. We can't trust our decisions. We may have learned this from someone growing up. We might have made decisions in the past and we ended up getting hurt, and then our brains became overprotective and just started saying, you can't make any more decisions because you're going to get hurt. We might have made a decision in the past that actually ended up hurting someone else, and then our brains say, you can't make any more decisions because you're going to hurt someone else if you make the choices here. We might have been told, like, you can't do that, you can't trust yourself, you can't make decisions, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough. We might have been told that or internalized that message growing up or in painful past relationships. This is what happens, right? We lack the self-trust. We lack the trust in our own decisions and our own choices, our own resilience. We don't trust our decisions. We don't trust our ability to accurately assess risk level and assess risky situations or assess the world around us. So then we turn to comparison as an attempt to help with this. What would so-and-so do? What would they think if they saw this or heard this? What would they think of my partner? What would this person think of this decision? What would this person do if they were confronted with this decision, right? We kind of set our own needs and our own wants and desires and our decisions to the side because we don't feel like we can trust them. So we go into this comparison trap of, well, let me just compare. Let me just try and live in a way that so-and-so would do. We do this if we really look up to our parents or something. What would my mom do in this situation? What would Jesus do? What would God do in this situation? What would my past partner say or think or do? What would my partner think if I did this, right? We go into this like hypercritical comparing mind because we don't have this deep self-trust in ourselves, our own decisions, our own choices, our own ability to live life and choose our own partner. So we turn to comparison. Another reason, hold on, let me get a sip of water here. Another reason, and this is a big one, I get really passionate about this one, is because we live in a world that is constantly comparing, and it is constantly teaching us to compare ourselves to others. And you might be like, I was brought up not to do that. Or on the surface, this might not seem true. I mean, I'm thinking of like all those pretty inspiring things you see on Instagram and Facebook and all of like in little shops stitched onto pillows and stuff that are like, you are your own biggest critic. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't compete against others. Compete against yourself. Don't compete. Or 10 years ago, like, oop, I might have frozen. Okay. If I froze, I'm back, hopefully. Let me know if I went away for a minute in the comments. But that's what it might look like on the surface. Like, don't compare, don't do that, it's not good, right? I'm gonna just call some major BS on that. Because we are constantly being compared, and we are constantly being taught to compare. Think about it. Like, this is how schools are. No child left behind, right? Even from a very, very young age, when we start school, we're compared to our classmates and our grades and our performance and our behavior in the classroom. Oh, good. Okay, thanks, Chelsea. I'm glad I'm back. We are compared to our peers. We are compared through standardized tests, through sports teams, right? Like, that is the way that our whole school system is set up. We're constantly being compared. When we are job searching, we are taught to compare different companies and different positions and weigh the pros and weigh the cons and compare the incomes and compare the perks of the job. Our performance in our careers is constantly being compared to that of our coworkers. If you are a manager or a director or a boss, you are constantly comparing your team members and your staff, right? We compare different cars, different houses, different apartments as we are looking to move or buy a car. We compare prices at grocery stores. When you go and get a haircut, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one who does this, but I don't go in and I'm like explaining what I want. I go in with a picture and I'm like, make me look like her. That's the haircut I want. Give me that one, right? Like, this is, just like Chelsea said, yeah, this is the fabric of our society, right? This is what we do. This is what we're taught to do. These might feel like kind of trivial examples, like, all right, Sarah, I'm here to hear about my relationship, not your haircut troubles. But think about it. If we are constantly comparing these various elements of our lives, why wouldn't that spill over into our relationship? If that is how we are brought up in this world, in this society, from the time we come into the world, I mean, babies are compared, right? Like, little babies are compared are you in like the 90th percentile in weight? Is your head the right size? Are you meeting all of these milestones? Are you crying fast enough after you are birthed, right? Like, this is how the world works. And no freaking wonder it spills over into our relationships and into other parts of our lives. This is how we're taught to exist, okay? You can tell I get passionate about that. I'm seeing a few more people jump on. If you're here live, say hey. Let me know you're here. Interact. Let me know if you find yourself getting stuck in the comparison trap. I can't be the only person here who's been stuck in it before. Let me know how you find yourself there. So, all right. What are some common ways that we find ourselves getting stuck in the comparison trap? Hold on. I'm reading a comment. Definitely feels like we have a collective toxic drive towards optimization. Yes. Always feeling like, what if the grass is greener, etc., making us give up quicker in our cancel culture. Oh, cancel culture. Don't even get me started on cancel culture. You're so right. That is like what our society revolves around right now. Maybe we should do like a whole episode on cancel culture. I'm gonna like lock that one away because I think that really, really plays into our relationships here. And We need to come back to that one. Thank you so much for mentioning that. I'm with you. So let's talk about a few ways that we find ourselves stuck in the trap. Like, what does this comparison trap look like, right? So 3 big ones come to mind. Number 1 is probably the one that we think about the most often, which is comparing yourself, your partner, or your relationship to what you've seen modeled for you. That can be through parents' relationships, caregivers' relationships, even like your friends' relationships or older siblings' relationships. This one is huge, probably the most well-known. We constantly compare ourselves, our partners, our relationships to what we have seen modeled for us. This can look like a thought of like, oh, well, this isn't how my parents' relationship looks, so it must not be right. We must be doing something wrong. Maybe this is the wrong partner for me. Or it could look like, well, my parents got a divorce, and a lot of the things that they used to disagree on are also what me and my partner disagree on. So this must not be right. Like, if we disagree on the same things that they disagreed on and they got a divorce, and then what if we get a divorce? It can look like that. Or if you have had abusive or unkind parents or caregivers, you might constantly compare your partner to them. And if your partner does or says anything that even remotely resembles your parents or caregivers, it becomes, oh my gosh, my partner said something that really reminded me of my dad or mom, who was so unkind to me growing up, and he's going to end up being just like them, and I'll be stuck in another unkind relationship. I have to get out, right? Like, constantly comparing. My partner can't do anything like my abusive father or my parents who got divorced. Our relationship can't have anything in common with that relationship. So I'm going to constantly be comparing the two to make sure that we don't have any overlap, that we're not like them at all. Or the opposite, if you have seen this loving, wonderful relationship portrayed for you, and then you and your partner have conflict, or you disagree on a certain value, it might go into like, oh my gosh, my parents always told me that growing up that, to have a successful marriage, you have to feel the exact same way about kids and money and values, and we view money a little bit differently, and so that's not going to work. It's not going to work if we don't agree perfectly on this, and it's not going to happen. Yeah, yes, Chelsea, I'm seeing your comment. Exactly. I constantly compared to my parents to make sure it didn't look like theirs. Yes, exactly right. This can go with friends' relationships too. It's not always caregivers. We all have that one friend whose relationship just looks so wonderful on the outside that we constantly compare ourselves to. Like, oh, they just look so happy, and they're always laughing when I see them, and all of their pictures that they post are so cute, and he's always posting like really sweet stuff about her. I had that friend. She was engaged, and the engagement ended. Take a minute to let that trigger settle if you were triggered by that. We all have that friend, right? And we compare ourselves to them. Or we have friends who get dumped, get broken up with, or they break up with their partner, or they have a divorce. And then we go into this spiral of constantly comparing ourselves to them to make sure our relationship isn't anything like them, right? Exactly like what I was saying and what Chelsea was saying. Yeah. I'm like noticing my own body having a response as I'm talking through this, so I'm going to just let us settle for that for a moment here. I'm going to get a sip of water, take a break, stay with me here. And I see a comment, and it is transitioning straight into the next way that we find ourselves in the comparison trap. If you're just jumping on, if you're just joining, let me know you're here. Say hey in the comments. So here's another way that we compare ourselves, which is we compare ourselves, our partner, our relationships to what we see in the world through social media, through celebrities, through movies, through TV shows. All right. We have all seen the Disney movies. We've all seen the romantic comedies. We all follow at least one celebrity couple on Instagram. Mine is, oh God, I'm going to forget his name. Chrissy Teigen, and who's her husband? See? Clearly I don't follow them that closely anymore. They're beautiful on the outside, right? We've all seen those reality dating shows. Good old The Bachelor. It's the popular one. They're great. They are so entertaining. The movies fill you with this wonderful feeling. It's emotional, it's beautiful, it's inspiring, and it's not real. It's not real. John Legend. Thank you, Chelsea. Yes. I was like, I can't get it. They're not real, okay? It is not real. Those celebrities are real people. They're in a real relationship, but what we see on Instagram, that's just what they want us to see on Instagram. That's what their publicists want us to see on Instagram. Let's be real here. We all remember that scene in The Notebook when Allie and Noah, spoiler if you haven't seen it, which if you haven't seen it, great movie. Very triggering though. Allie and Noah reunite after 7 years of not seeing each other, not speaking, and they fall into bed together and they make love for hours, and it's amazing and beautiful and passionate and exhilarating, and they want to do it again right when they're done. Let me tell you, the first time you sleep with someone after 7 years, it ain't going to be that good. Okay? It's not real. These are movies. They are designed to make us feel those warm, fuzzy, electric feelings because that is what sells in the box office. These celebrity couples and what you see on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on the news, on TikTok and Twitter and all of that, that might be a portion of their relationship, right? But it's not the whole thing. It's not. It's what's going to attract you to them so that you listen to their music and you follow them and you read their stuff, you read their books and you go see their shows, okay? That's it. It's not real. Preach it, Chelsea. Yes. It looks good. It feels good. We get so caught up in comparing our relationship to those examples that we're seeing, and it will always fall short because it's not realistic. If I'm comparing my wonderful, amazing husband and our relationship to John Legend and Chrissy Teigen, it's gonna fall short because it's not real. It's not realistic, okay? That brings me to the third way that we find ourselves stuck in the comparison trap. And I'm gonna tell you that this next one is so common and so painful. And this is when we find ourselves comparing our relationship or our partner to past partners or past relationships or past phases of our current relationship. We compare the feelings that we have for our partners to the feelings that we had for past partners, or we compare what our relationship looks like now to relationships that we've had in the past. And I want to normalize the heck out of this and validate this because I think there's a lot of shame around it. We find ourselves doing this and then we're like, oh my gosh, I am a horrible person, I am a horrible partner, I'm terrible. If I really would loved this person, then I would never think of my past partners. Or if you're like me, you're like, my past boyfriends sucked. They were awful. So why am I only focusing on the good here? Why am I comparing my amazing husband to these trash people? It's because we get stuck in the comparison trap. This is a normal part of it. What happens is we start to focus on only the good parts of our past partners and only the flaws of our current partners. Did I say that right? Yes. Focus on the great things of these past people we've been with and the flaws of the current people we've been with. Right? That is what happens. And it hurts. And it's painful. And I want to talk about it and I want to normalize it because you are not a bad person. You are not a terrible partner. This is something that can happen. Okay? Also, sip of water here. If you are in a long-term relationship, if you have been with someone for multiple years, maybe you live together, maybe you're married, maybe not. Maybe you have kids together, maybe not. If you are comparing how you feel in that relationship and towards your partner to how you felt in a younger, shorter relationship, of course it is going to be different. It's going to be different. The way that you show up in your 5 or 10 year relationship is not the way you showed up with your 17-year-old first high school boyfriend or girlfriend or partner. It's just not. It's not, okay? You also might start comparing how your relationship looks now to how it felt in the beginning, that good old honeymoon phase, right? When I say honeymoon phase, I mean that often refers to the first little bit of time in a relationship where you are almost constantly feeling these electric, energetic, loving feelings towards your partner. Fast forward a few years, you're not going to feel that way anymore. Not all the time. It might come and go, right? I always say this. There are days that I want to cry because I'm just overwhelmed with love for my husband. There are days that I can barely stand to be in the same room as him. And there are a ton of days where he's just a person in my life who I enjoy being around and I enjoy spending time with and doing life with, right? So those electric feelings might come and go. But if we're comparing our relationship now, 5+ years in, 2+ years in, to how it was in the first, 3, 6 months, however long your honeymoon phase lasted, 3 weeks, it's going to look different, right? It just is. Because you are different, your partner is different, your relationship is different. It's going to look different. Those are some of the common ways that we find ourselves stuck in the comparison trap. We compare to what's been modeled for us, what we see in the world around us, and past partners or past phases of your relationship. Okay? So, sorry, I live in Philly and we've had a major snowstorm the past 3 days and it's very dry. I also have a space heater right next to me that's making it even more dry, so drinking more water than usual. All right, so the fun part here. This is where the work begins. How do we break this cycle? How do we get out of the comparison trap? All right, Sarah, I'm in it. I've been doing it for years. How do I get out of it now? 4 things. 4 things that I want to highlight today. Number 1 is building self-trust. When we have a foundation of deep self-trust, we don't need to compare. We trust ourselves. We trust our own decisions, our own resilience, our ability to assess risk level and assess the world around us and move through life. We trust ourselves, so we don't need to constantly be comparing to everything around us. We don't have to constantly say, oh my gosh, my partner can't do anything that's even remotely like my parents because they got a divorce or they were so unkind to me. We trust, if my partner does something that I'm not okay with, I'll know how to speak up and I'll know how to advocate for myself and have that difficult conversation and find compromise in there. I trust myself, right? Or if something is blatantly wrong, I trust myself that I will know that and I will figure out how to handle it and how I want to handle it. When we have that self-trust, we don't have to compare. We just don't have to do it. Second thing is learning how to feel confident and empowered in our decisions. We don't need to constantly be comparing our decisions to those of others or constantly have this what would they do? What would they think? What would Sarah do? What would Chelsea do? What would Jesus do? What would my mom do? What would my friend do? We don't need that. We feel confident and empowered in our decisions, even and especially if they are different than what your parents or your friends or your family would have done. Even if our decision is different than what they would have done, or someone doesn't approve of it, or someone doesn't like it, we can feel confident and empowered in that decision. The third thing is learning to love and embrace all parts of ourselves, all parts of our partners, our lives, the good, the bad, the ugly, the flaws, the beautiful, all of it. When we can love ourselves and our partners fully, even with all of the flaws, even with the imperfections that come along with being human, then we won't see those imperfections as threats, and we won't need to constantly be comparing them. So if my partner says or does something that reminds me of a past painful relationship that I've had, it's not going to spike me into like, ah, oh my gosh, he's just like them. We're doomed. Everything's going to go to shit. Ooh, sorry. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this. Censor myself. Right? We won't go down those roads. We can sit with like, ooh, all right, my partner's messy. I'm messy. They have parts of them that I don't necessarily like or agree with, but I can love them in it, and I can love myself in it, right? And then the fourth thing is being present. Being truly present. We compare because we are trying to make sure that nothing bad, okay, thanks Chelsea. We're trying to compare to make sure that nothing bad will ever happen. It's to try and keep us safe, right? So if we can cultivate this ability to truly, truly live and exist in the present moment, then we don't need to constantly be comparing ourselves, our relationships, to things in the past or other people. We can truly just embrace where we are, where we're at right now, how we feel right now in this moment. If I feel happy and joyful and loving in this moment, I'm not going to compare it to make sure that it's more loving and joyful and happy in this moment than it was 10 years ago. If I feel angry and frustrated in this moment, I don't have to compare it to the feelings of being frustrated and angry in the past, or fear of feeling frustrated and angry in the future. I can just sit with what I'm feeling right now. Right now. Okay. Everything I just named, those four things, learning to build self-trust, learning to feel confident and empowered in your decisions, loving all parts of yourself in your relationship, and cultivating deep presence, that's it. That's the work. This is what we do here at Healing Embodied. This is what we help you with. This is why Chelsea and I show up every day. This is it. Everything I just talked about and everything I named, this is it. Okay? We go deeper into everything we just talked about, and we integrate this into the body because, newsflash, you cannot think your way out of the comparison trap. You can't say, I'm comparing, I should stop doing that. I'm going to not do that anymore. That's irrational. It don't work. Does not work. We need to involve the body to break this cycle. We need to. That is what will get us out of the comparison trap. Involving the body, doing this deeper work. Okay? If you are ready for this, if you know that you are stuck in this trap, or you've been in that trap before, or you're afraid that you're going towards that trap, and you want to change this, you want to take radical responsibility to change this, we are offering something so special. This is what I gave a little teaser of in the beginning. Wow, that went by fast. That was fast 35 minutes, at least for me. We are offering something so special. If you are ready for this, for the first 5 people who sign up for our Luscious Love Immersion group program before February 11th, that's next week, before 2/11, you are going to receive a free 30-minute inner peace roadmap session with me. Okay, so together in this session, you and I will figure out what are the exact steps that you need to go from being stuck stuck in this trap of comparing, reassurance seeking, feeling anxious and overwhelmed in the body, to feeling grounded, feeling centered, finding that inner peace. Okay, we are going to figure out this roadmap together. This is going to kickstart the work that you're going to do in the Luscious Love program, where you will learn so many tools and skills to help you build a deeper connection with yourself, with your partner, to stop nitpicking and constantly comparing. And you're going to learn how to cultivate intimacy, that deep, deep, trusting, vulnerable connection and intimacy. Okay? If you want to be one of those 5 people, if you want that free session, if you want to do what it takes to truly be all in, book an assessment call with me or Chelsea. I'm going to put the link in the description. I think it's already there. You can click on it right now if you want, but don't leave. I'm almost done, I promise. Schedule a call with us. Jump on this assessment. Talk to us. Get signed up on that call for the Luscious Love program before the 11th, and let's get started. Let's meet. Let's do this 30-minute session together. Let's kickstart this work. Let's get moving so you're not stuck in this comparison trap anymore. Okay, book a call with us if you want to be one of those 5 people. It's only the first 5, and it's only before the 11th. So you got to book it. Okay. You're also going to get a $1,000 scholarship for signing up for the program on the call. Just throwing that in there. Almost forgot about that part. Okay, so the program is only going to be, if you pay in full, it's an 8-week program, 2 movement sessions a week, lifetime access to those powerful training modules, private Facebook groups, so you're not in a huge Facebook group like this, private, customized, small Facebook group just for this program. It's going to bump the price down $1,000, so it's only $1,200 for the whole program. Okay, book that call, get signed up, let's meet. I want to do this. I want to meet individually. I want to help you figure out this inner roadmap or inner peace roadmap so that you are not constantly being hijacked and sent into this world of comparison anymore. I want to do it. If you want to do it too, you know how. All right, my dears. That is it for me today. Thanks for everyone hanging out. And if you are checking this video later, let us know what resonated with you. Let us know. I can't wait to hear from you guys. I will see you next time. Take care.